everyone, welcome to Thursday Night Airbrush Down and Dirty Tricks. We are getting ready to rock and roll. Had a little sound issue at the beginning, but I think I fixed it, so make sure I have sound. Let me get my chair up here a little bit, a little low. There we go. Let's see what we got. We got Mike Benner, we got my mom. Hi, Mom. Chris Hope. Over on YouTube, we got some dirty tricksters in the house. Michael Stanton, Lindsay J, Steve, Robert, thank you for popping in. Thank you to all my down dirty tricksters. Some are probably sitting in the background. I'll give a little shout out, thank you to all of them. Hi, SMR Customs. Thank you. And, I need to turn my TV on that's in front of me, so I can actually see. There we go. So I can see the feed. All right, we are ready to rock and roll. What we got going? Good. Sounds good. All right, people are popping in. Good. All right, so let me remind everyone where we were at last week, which was right here. So we were doing the Reaper panel, which started from nothing. And just went into it last week. It ended up here, and I was going to finish it off camera. But I figured, what the hell, I had a busy week, and I haven't had time to work on it. So I figured I would just finish it up here tonight, and maybe add a little fire color to it, and see how I have time for. This panel's already spoken for. The bids went last week on this, so this is just going to be a wrap-up, and get ready for next week and stuff like that. So while we're here, any questions, any things, any ideas, any thoughts, put them in the comments, and we will get this thing started. I mixed a whole bunch of colors tonight. Let's see if I can kind of go over here. There they are. Yeah. So we got quite a few. So basically what I got going on here, these are all illustration colors. This is illustration yellow, illustration orange, scarlet red, some purple. I have a candy black, I have an illustration regular black, and an illustration white, opaque white. I cut it a little bit, so that way it's not super strong, but it's still got good coverage. Whoa! Almost lost the camera. Let's go back up here. Nope. Let's get. Come on. I need a remote camera that's got like moves on a remote. Would be awesome. Future purchase. I am going to try to hide a cowbell in this, because that was talked about last night. Not last night, but last feed. Seems like last night for me. But we're good. So where we were off last week, what we did is I did everything in a white render. Basically like all this tone, got everything done. I did the background first. Then I started cutting in with black. So I'm kind of going to start there again and cutting in with the black. And this is a solid black. Hey, Michael. So this is a fairly opaque black. So it's good coverage. So it's illustration. Yeah, this is illustration opaque black. And we're going to go where we were last week, which was dropping parts of the floor. Hold on, please. All right, so we have our black. This is in our regular Iwata Takumi 3.35 nozzle, nothing crazy. But basically this is where I was. I was filling in a lot of this stuff here and really starting to carve out kind of the detail, maybe some rips, and just basically getting those darks laid in. That's kind of the plan here. Get the darks laid in. You know, I think I made it a little weaker than I wanted to. So we're going to strengthen this back up a little bit. because I want coverage at this point, because I want this to really... Off to YouTube we go. Mark Webb, what's going on? So, Facebook's probably doing its glitchy thing. Sorry if it is over there. Go over to YouTube, Airbrush Download Tricks. That's where the good quality feed is. Now we're starting to get some coverage. So I'm not trying to like kill everything. I just want to get the darks dark, and then I can start to blend all the subtle stuff with the candy black. Like most of blending in here and here in the skull, I'm going to do with the candy black. I'm only doing like the heavy stuff with the opaque black. What's up, Mr. Webb? Mr. Leahy's in the house. Yeah, so just kind of getting that dark line, then I'll build off that with a shading line. Same thing in here, the teeth, not the teeth, the jaw. I'm just kind of got to get a silhouette. So I want it really black right against him. And then we can tone the rest out as we go. So hope some of you have been following my other little posts and stuff and made a little headway on my Star Wars Empire Strikes Back trench run, which is pretty cool. Loving the way that's coming out. Just want to bring this up just a smidge. Just a smidge, so I can do this. All is well. All is well, thank you. Hope all is well with you. So yeah, I'm just trying to get that blotch. But see how, at the beginning it didn't look, it looked almost black, but it wasn't. So by just getting this really black, it lets this kind of set off from there. Now when I come in with the candy black, I can do more subtle tones and things like that. And then when I get back in here, I said I think I want to get a little bit of kind of realistic fire color tone going on in this one as well. So I'm going to also do some more damage to his outfit. The robes have to have like battle scars and just age. Just age. Not really battle scars, but just has to show some age. Right, the Reaper's been around on the block a few times. And I was able to get a bunch of other stuff done this week and cleared for the final time. I was able to finally do the final clear and get Gary's panels cleared. So everything's coming out. Everything's going out next week because I finally was able to get cleared over the striping and get it flat. And No big dust nibs. Had a few issues, but it's all taken care of. So I can get this huge amount of panels I have out my door. My apologies to everyone waiting. I want to get these. Start doing these hand knuckles here. I like, let me see, you know what, maybe I can zoom in a little bit more here on that hand. Seems like a good place to hopefully not destroy this camera again. I can move this over, and then can maybe move this up a little bit. And zoom in. How about that? How's that look? That looks alright. Can zoom out here. And we can focus on that. Damn nibs. Nibs, other issues, you know. But they're all good. Now the only one that gets the final clear is this one in the Dragon Castle. Everything else is done. Ready to go out. So whenever you're doing things like this, so I'm in the dark area, so this is pretty bold, so I'm not going to do too much shading. I'm just kind of going to chisel out some lines where it would be, and now handle any shading with the candy black. When I'm really just trying to sculpt, thinking about my core shadows and like core shadows down here, and more so little bone fragment details just to give it a little something something. Ha 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 ha. What? I know I am going to be 50 this year. Oof. How'd that happen? Timothy John Luke Smith, what's going on? Thank you, sir. Thank you for popping into the feed. Just doing some tidying up on some of the bony details. We're going to do some shading and do some real fire and make this thing cool. Let's find a little curve here. Shade that in. Oh man, thank you very much. I don't think it's next level, but I appreciate the sentiment. I think Gary or Green Camaro would call it t-shirty. Right? Well, like I said, what I'm doing, I'm getting all the bold stuff, and then I'll come out with the candy black, and we'll start toning this. But that'll be, you know, probably close towards the end. And right now, I'm trying to get all these details in. Josh Sweeney over on Facebook. Oh, very cool, man. Thank you for popping into the Facebook side. It doesn't often get a lot of people in it anymore because Facebook, so to really see the good stuff, make sure you pop over onto the YouTube channel, Josh. That's where all the fun, exciting, good stuff is. Oh, did anyone like my new elevator music sound? That was fun. I missed, the sound was off the beginning, but while you were in the waiting room, I had this playing, just the mic wasn't on. for those of you who don't know, if you guys do YouTube, there's always issue with music and monetizing or getting silenced if there's too much, if there's proprietary music in the background or things like that. I even had a few where I downloaded some what I thought was free music, and then for my intros, and then my revenue was getting split between other people. So now, if you're a content creator on YouTube, YouTube actually has music channels that you can pipe into your background to your feed, and you can choose the music, whether it's paid for music, if it's split revenue between an artist, or free stuff. So you don't have to go full silent YouTube videos anymore. There are ways to put music, and you can choose whether it's like, pay or free or things like that. So that's a new feature. So I'm going to start playing with that. And so it's not always, so I'm going to get a kind of a playlist, at least some background sounds going. So you're not just, I don't want the music to overpower the feed, but it'd be nice to have a little something. Zoom back out here now. No, I haven't done any videos like that. I should. It's definitely something I've been considering. The business side of airbrushing custom paint. And if I do that, which I think I will, make it a segment eventually. It'll probably be part of my paid membership side. And maybe do some small group Zoom calls that involve not so much like me telling you how it has to be, but bouncing ideas of how I did it and how you could do it, because it's always subjective. But the one thing I will say, bring up my mug here. The one thing I will say about building clientele, and these days it's much easier than when I started. It's easier and it's not. So when I started, you pretty much stayed local. And to build clientele outside of local, you started doing shows, cruise nights, motorcycle event shows, tattoo convention shows, car nights, cruise nights, things like that. So that was huge for me. That helped a lot. That's probably the easiest way to do it. To get outside the area, then you had to start doing actual advertising. Get into some magazines and do things further out. That was a different thing. Now with YouTube, you can get out, and social media, you can get people everywhere. The problem is now you're also not just competing with people in your local area, competing with people everywhere. So the biggest thing is just getting yourself out there so people know you're around and you're there. And the longer you're there, the longer you're putting out good work, more work will come in. So I always kind of built my brand off the do one good job, get one or two more in return. Mess up one job, don't follow through, lose 5 to 10 potential in the future. If you kind of live by that, your clientele, you'll have a solid clientele base to build off of. And it just takes time. Good portfolio, good pictures. Nowadays, a decent website or at least a decent social media presence with stuff like that. That's all key to building a clientele. But the biggest thing is following through on your jobs. If you say you're going to get a deadline, hit it. If you can't hit it, make a phone call and explain why and get a solution going. Those are the big things. But I definitely would like to do some more kind of business topics on it and kind of things like that. So yeah, it's a good ask, so I appreciate that. It's definitely something I will put into the rotation coming up. I hope that helps a little bit. Anyway. Darren, what's going on, man? You gonna watch your painting get finished? Yeah, I didn't have time to work on it, so I figured I would just finish it tonight. Maybe add the cowbell. And just have some fun with it. You are welcome, sir. So the one thing that hasn't changed in like an art business or a creative business is, I'm going to say, slow and steady wins the race, man. Yeah, so if you just build a nice clientele slowly over time with good work and good clients, you know, a lot of the rest of itself just works itself out. And avoid social media asshat fights. I've been guilty about falling into them, and they don't help you as an artist or a designer or a content creator. So I'm just kind of sculpting out the hourglass. I do have, like I said, I do have this hourglass vectored. I am going to put it into a download at some point. I remember the first time I did this one was super detailed. Like, I could do just a whole hour on just this. So I'm really trying to give it that kind of fun painter feel as well. There's a time for crazy realism. There's a time for just good old fun cross-hatching and line work. So we got the little sand in here. We're going to hide a little skull right here in the sand. Can't believe today is the 1st February. Actually, I got a cool thing coming up the end of the month. I don't know if any of you know the airbrush artist and body painter extraordinaire Pasher. Pasher is an extremely amazing body painter, one of the best in the field. We actually worked together years ago at Airbrush Action for Getaways, and he reached out. He has a really cool kind of, it's a private feed, but they do a lot, you know, they have room for a certain amount of guests. We're going to do a guest appearance there, and they kind of do a follow-along, not follow-along class, but just kind of hang out and draw. But prior to that, they do an interview, so I'm going to do the interview with them. But the project we draw there, I'm going to then do live afterwards. So I'll keep you posted on that. And more details about if anyone wants to come and watch that feed. Like I said, it's a private Zoom one with just a limited number of, I think they only have 20 spots total. So, but that's going to be cool. We look forward to doing that. Yeah, so Mark Webb, you know, I've done body painting in the past. I've done a handful of times. I think the first time I did it was mid to late 90s. I think I did my first real one, and then did some after that. So we'll talk about that and some other stuff. And definitely not my big wheelhouse, but Pasher, he was actually my roommate at a getaway. And he was amazing to work with, and probably, like I said, probably one of the, I don't know the industry well, but I'd say he's definitely, you know, in the top end of the industry. As far as artists I know, he's probably in the top 10, top 20. So it'll be cool to hang out with him. Christopher Eckhart, what's going on? Yeah, man, it's always amazing. Facebook gets like nothing. Like just very few people either see it, know about it, you know. if you guys are over on Facebook at all, or you got both feed open, just share this stuff out. Maybe we can get a few more people over. And maybe eventually those people will come over here and watch it where it's better. So like I said, now when I'm over here, I'm going back to the skull. I'm going to hit the really dark areas. And then I'm going to switch to my candy black. And we're going to tone this guy in. But you know what? I think I just want to get the really deep darks in. And the rest I'll sculpt with the candy black. Oh yeah. You know, there's quite a few out there that I follow, I've known, that do amazing work. There was that show a few years ago that was, what was the name of it? That Gear Duran was a friend of mine. He was on. Skin Deep? No. It was like a body paint show. I forget what it was. I met a few of the guys from there, and I taught a couple of them other disciplines. And yeah, that's a whole other world unto itself. A whole other paint type of career unto itself is the body painting world. Like I said, could say I've dabbled in it. Okay, I think that's enough here. Skin Wars, thanks Lindsay. Yeah, that was a show. So, like, Gear Duran, you know, Gearbox, I knew way prior when we worked together. He was awesome on that show. And then Dutch I've chatted with before, a really good guy. And a few of the other contestants I've met. And then, but there's whole other people in that industry. It's like I said, that's a whole other industry onto itself. Yeah, you know, Mark, it's one of those, like, when I've done it, it's up close and personal, yes, but once you're painting and you're doing it, you know, you lose that whole, oh, it's a person or a girl or a guy, or, you know, it just becomes another canvas to work with and talk to, and just, you know, your professionalism sets in. You know, you lose that whole kind of fifth grader mentality, like, ooh, I'm painting on a girl, you know, pretty quick. At least I found that. And most people I talk to kind of do the same thing. You more want the person to be professional you're working with. Because I've seen that side of it too. I see body painters work with, like, subjects that are hard to work with, and it's not. Definitely not fun for them. Okay, so that's cool. That's cool. Let's leave you. I'm thinking I want to do a little extra white work. Darren Martin, thank you, sir. And Mike Manning. Two of you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, gentlemen. So, are you going to animate those spaceships moving around the Star Wars diorama? Oh, you know, I saw that YouTube video about them moving the ships, like, laterally. And the answer is, no, I'm not going to do that. But lights and sound, definitely. Mark Webb. Yippee. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Much appreciated. Rick Finnemore, the myth, the legend. Best chairman to ever handle the world of wheels. Thanks for popping in over on Facebook. So this is a softer white that I used last week. John Jordan, what's going on, brother? Thank you for popping in. So this is a weaker white that I used last week, and this is what I'm doing just like, because I don't want super strong. I want to be able to go in and start to like subtly tone. I don't want the white to go wham, like, you know. So it didn't impress me. Oh, the thing? Was it the ones where they took like the Lego version where they moved it and then they kind of made the model move? I wasn't impressed by the end result either. So I think mine would just be static with lights and sound. I think we watched the same video. But like I said, yeah, this white is a little thinner. It's it's less opaque, so it's more translucent, more transparent. That way I can tone in some of this stuff without overpowering it. White's always that tricky bit, because if you go too strong, you overpower, and then you're like, oh, I gotta go back to black, and then you're going back to white, you go back to black, you go back to white, go back to black. So what I like to do, Monster Raw Monster, my day is good, thank you, thank you. So what I like to do is get that heavy stuff out at the beginning, then switch to more tonal white, tonal black, and then you can start to, you know, push and pull subtly. Like in here, like here's that little skull, and now I can just pick out the highlights of the eyes, and we can maybe put a little dot for sand, and then we'll just do more granules of sand and have it like the sand's going up and the sand kind of going through the hole. See what I mean? Now it gives a little bit more. And we can get a little Mendez texture in here and add some details. And now you can see that kind of looks like, now, see? You can see that skull now. Just suddenly brings it out. So I do the skull painted black and white, went back, add some black, some places. And I got brown shift. Little blue, add to the black. So yeah, some of the black colors definitely get a heavy brown shift. I find the House of Color doesn't get too much of one. The illustration really doesn't. So you can add a little blue. You can add a little purple as well. Which is why if you look at Candy Black has a purple tint to it. And that purple tint definitely gets rid of that brown. You know, so it's definitely something to consider. You know, like I said, so what I like to do is I do my heavy black, my heavy white. Then I try not to overshade each other too much. I try to make that more like cutting solids in, and then I switch to a transparent black with usually a bluish purple tint, and my white I'll make that transparent. I don't really worry about blue shift so much on black and white panels like this. If I don't want it, then I will add that little bit of orange color buff. Yeah, red violet works too. It depends on the system. So like when I'm using House of Color, I'll usually put purple candy in it, like a violet candy or something like that. But you can do a blue black. A blue black will definitely help. So like see here where it's pretty harsh, I can come in and hit that. Now I can do a little bit more subtle shade like that. And see, that's got that little bit of a blue, which is fine. And I went a little too heavy there. So I got a little spidery. We'll work that out. You are welcome. Yeah, I just had to do a painting this week that I will never share. That I will never show anyone that I had anything to do with it. But I'm going to vent about it. And I can never show it because I don't want to hurt the feelings of whoever did it. They probably don't follow me. But I had a shop that I work with that had a bike. And the fender got damaged. It had, you know, some skull and smoke and firework on it that, let's just say, wasn't Wasn't done by Mike LaValle or myself or someone in the, probably who've been painting for as long as we have. Not to say it was horrible. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't. It was amateurish. It was good. It was amateur. But for some reason or other, the guy who owned the bike couldn't have the person do it anymore or whatever, wanted me to do it and see if I could match it. And I'm like, I don't know. And I didn't want to use the words, I don't know if I could paint that way. Meaning poorly. But I kind of did. And, the hardest thing wasn't really matching, the kind of, beginner line work that it was at. It's just hard for... Someone's line work is almost a signature. Like, even professional to professional, beginner to beginner. Like, if I took a LaValle piece on, if I took a Mike Learn piece on, you can tell the difference in our strokes and how we lay paint down. It's just, it's just how it works. And then add in some amateur to that, and then just different paints. My hardest time blending this thing out was that their brown shift was really bad, and it was very grainy. So it was really hard to kind of do it, but we did, made it work. And like, I can see where I fixed it, I think, but hopefully the guy doesn't. But I don't know, has anyone else here had that been asked to touch up other people's work, and you're like, I'd rather not, because I don't know if I can. I don't know, and I felt like I kind of felt like an ass saying it, but there's some truth to it. Like I said, I'm not saying that Airbrush artist was bad. They were definitely, younger or more of a beginner, and so to reset my body back 30 years of painting. Yeah, exactly. Everyone's body movements are different, and their trigger pull is different. Their paint is different. So yeah, it was. Yeah, I was okay about not being an ass about it. Mike Gillette over on Facebook. At least it looks like the lone person on Facebook. But you never know with Facebook. Now he's over here where he should be. Hey, so if you guys are Route 22 total, we got some more down and dirty tricksters. Some of you guys were here at the beginning, but I had to give my thanks, my shout out for those who don't have the nice colorful names with the cool skulls and stuff. Those are our members, our YouTube members, which you can join up. It's hard to do from your phone. You can definitely do it from your computer or iPad, something like that. The 20% did expire technically yesterday, but I've slacked and I haven't taken the discount off yet for anything on McKay Fine Art eStore. So I might have another day or two to get 20% off any download in my store if you join up and get the code. So, but that is going away within probably 24 hours. So if you want that 20% discount, join up and then go to the store and get 20% off, because you can go over to McKayFineArt.com. There's a little QR code for that as well. Oh yeah, we got the little icons too. I gotta make some new icons, man. I gotta make some new chat icons and some money icons and some fun stuff. We'll get to it. All right, we'll get to it. Okay, so where... Oh, yeah, I want to fix this right here because I got a little blow through. Cool, got that sharpened out. I did a New York Giants. Once again, how much just repainted the entire house. Yeah, the problem with this one was, so this was an entire bike that they only damaged a part of the front fender. So I could have try to match the fender and blend it, which that way he just had to do that. Because if I went any further than that, then I'd have to paint the whole fender. If I had to paint the whole fender, it's never going to look like that dude's work. I'm going to have to do the whole bike. So it was this whole kind of, keep the repair as small as possible. Gary Shees, thank you, my good friend. Thank you very much. I know you've been having a go at it the past few weeks. Lots of life going on. So thank you for popping in and being a huge supporter as always. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. All right. So we're good. We're good. So what I'm gonna do? That black's gonna go. Which is that in? Oh, that's in my Eclipse. I'm gonna leave that there. We're gonna get over. So now I'm going to go to the candy black. And I can't find my stupid lid. Oh, you know what? I can't find my mini lid. And I moved too damn fast to paint without a lid. You guys who paint without lids creep me out, man. Just creeps me out. All right. Yeah, I can't find, like I said, I can't find my mini lid, but I did find that cup, which that's the old school Eclipse top cup. So now, whoops, is this gun not cleaned well? I still painting with look. I do too. Okay, so now this is where I can start having some fun with tones. So first thing I want to do, look right here. I want to do the drop shadow from the hood hanging over the top, and I like just taking a curve like this. And just lightly hit it like that and go down. So you see how that tone's got a much bluer, more purpley tone to it. Then I can start hitting the core shadows over here. I'm sorry, this one probably needs a little, this micron needs a little TLC. Got the fluid nozzle, give me 2 secs. I did a quick clean last week when I finished. I probably should have done a tear down on this micron, but I did not. So let me just see if I can make some improvement. Can you put the camera close up? Yeah. I'll do one camera close up. I'll do this one close up. How about that? And we'll zoom in. Come on. How's that? That should be better. The teeth. Everyone has issues with teeth. Okay, this needle has a little hook in it. I'm going to get by. I'm just going to pick it with my thumbnail a little bit, straighten that hook out. This micron probably needs a fluid nozzle and needle change before the next feed. But let's see what we can do. You're welcome. And you'll be able to just go. How about that? Full screen, baby. Full screen, zoomed in. Now you can see if my airbrush is actually going to work or not. If not, it's going to be a quick maintenance video on how to change the fluid nozzle. Which I don't want to do. Okay. Alright, let's get in here. I like doing live streams, man. There's always issues. I like being able to just like work and talk. So I like that aspect of it. The pre-recorded for certain things I like, don't get me wrong. But I get so much out of the live feed. And things just happen that won't happen during a recorded feed. You know, and the way my system is set up so I can go back in and edit afterwards really helps. Because I can take my live feed, I can edit all the cameras down and not have it, you know, if there's any errors or things like that. But there's certain challenges like I can't do live. Like, I'm going to do fire. Do you want the eyes green, Darren? It might look a little Christmassy with the background, but let's see. So I'm going to tone across that. I'm going to put a little divot right here. Just get that detail in. Detail! Just put a little crack coming down here. We'll shade off this. Just lots of little pick details. Core shadow on that. And you see, you just start building shape and tone by picking out a little core shadow here. Oh, and things like that. So what I was saying, certain things I can't do live because it takes too long. Like if you hand cut like everything, or sometimes realistic fire is an issue because if you do too many colors, lids are for quitters. No, lids are people who can work fast and efficient, but you have to move, mainly because we have ADD. And I can't work with like just a brush load of paint. Okay, so let's talk about teeth. Everyone tries to do this. We've talked about it before. They try to do teeth. The green may work. I'm gonna hold judgment to the end on the green. I may do yellow. Green may work depending how much I do for the fire color. So everyone tries to do teeth like this. The problem is, it's too much. So what I try to do when I do teeth, I try to like, so if the jaw is here and the bottom of the teeth are here, I try to come up from the bottom, and I just try to come from the top and do like the channel. That way the teeth kind of shape, and you don't have a harsh line in the middle, and you kind of build your shading that way to do teeth versus painting chiclets. Okay, that's kind of how I So, like for example, right here, see the two front teeth, okay? All I want for Christmas is. Watch. I'm not gonna like follow around the whole thing like this. I'm gonna find the middle, and I'm gonna do a little dagger stroke up, a little dagger stroke up. I come around just the top. Now on the bottom, I just come up and up into it. And the teeth next to it, same thing. Once you got it, you got it. Right here, I can just shade up, shade up. I can shade the separations. Now we'll put a little tone on that side. And now watch this. A little highlight caps it off. See that edge? Now I usually go up and do little daggers right between to kind of create that cylindrical shading. But you can mess them up really easy, so. But if you're not trying to do like big lines, and you'll have an easier time. I can't do teeth, so I just paint meth heads. Yeah. So watch when I do the bottom. Same thing. So here's the bottom of the socket. Now I'm going to come up into that other tooth. Loop around the bottom of the socket. Come up. Up. If my micron was working better, these lines would be perfect. Now sockets could come down. Shadow under them. And I can just tone back in here like that. Remember, this is still not huge. You know, it's still only the size of the palm of my hand, the whole skull. You know what doing teeth is like? Anyone mechanics in here? Doing teeth is the 20-minute job that turns into 2 hours because of a stuck or broken bolt. If the bolt comes out easy and things go nice, it's a 20-minute job. If you have a blowout anywhere along doing those teeth, all bets are off. Yeah, like, so I can get rid of this tooth right here. Yeah, we'll get rid of one tooth, see? That tooth is gone. I just left the socket behind. See? Super easy. Some coarse shadows. We'll do another like break here. Crack on the skull. Tone that out. It's just final highlights. Oh, you know what? We tone up in here. So this is, now you can see kind of how I tone. It just starts to kind of blend. That it does get rid of that brownish cast if you had, because you get that bluish purple. Oh, the pot graphs help for teeth a lot as well. So if I was to do that, a lot of times, depending on the size, like I'll bring out this guy. And we'll show you, like I use this on skulls a lot. Like if I want to enhance that cheekbone edge. Warlock! You know, now I can go in and I can just find a curve that kind of fits. And I can highlight up there and just kind of tone that a little bit. I can take the edge of pocket graphs here, get the jawline. Just a little shadow there. See that, how that little subtlety happened? Watch this on the nose. Just that little bit of a pop. And same thing with the teeth. A lot of times you can come in here like this and you can just add little bits of the teeth, like underneath the teeth. You know, painting the stencil helps a lot. Look at that septum a little bit. Highlight the cracks. We'll highlight these eyes a little bit until we decide the color. So you can have a little bit of a more glow under the body. If you want to see some of the best like Reaper skulls, there's two guys. That's Roderick Fuchs and the magnificent Fitto, F-I-T-T-O. Probably some of the best detail work skulls that you're going to see in the motorcycle industry. Mike Learn as well. But now you see how much improvement that happened. When you zoom out, it starts to really, the piece really comes together as a whole. So now let's try to straighten this. This is going to get really wonky for a sec. Okay. Okay, I want to get you kind of straight. Now I'm going to lock you down. Lock you down. Alrighty. Cool. Tim, thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. Raffin Customs on your mask. Does it have backing like regular vinyl? No. No. So, well, this was all done with just all freehand with, I did transfer tape on this one. But, the vinyl I use is paint mask, so it's designed to go on and come off and not leave residue. A lot of guys in the beginning make the mistake of buying vinyl, like sticker material, and that leaves all sorts of problems, like glue behind and residue and fight, and it pulls paint and makes a mess of stuff. So that stuff is not great. So I use what's paint mask. So I use typically General Formulations is my cheap stuff. That's like my cheap yellow or white that I use for big areas. For all my detail stuff, I use FBS mask. So it is a premium brand. It does cost way more, but I only use it when I'm doing all the detail work. And I'm actually doing a video. I started recording today because I did some Harley lettering today. And I'm going to gold leaf it in the morning. So it's going to be. I record it, so I'm going to do like a how-to, how to do like a, you know, on a blue bike, a black silhouetted with a blue pinstripe outline and gold leaf lettering in it. I'm going to do that. How do you use that with a Cricut or Cameo? You don't know. You can use it. The FBS, so all the paint masks go through it. You can get it from any vinyl supplier, sign supplier. FBS actually makes it in the sticker packs, like the 9x13 size, but you can get it in small rolls. They have it in 6-inch and 12-inch rolls. And so I use the FBS blue for most of my work. I'll use the green for some stuff, and I'll use the gold very sparingly. But you can get, you know, regular General Formulations vinyl at any vinyl supplier, and most vinyl suppliers will cut to size. So if you want to cut a 6-inch or 8-inch roll or 12-inch roll, you can. Or you can be able to cut sheets. But it's paint mask. It's not just sticker vinyl. And you can get it on Amazon as well. This one. The only brand I don't really like is Oracle or Oracal. I have so many reactions, a lot of reaction problems with that. Yeah, FBS makes 6, 12, and 24. Except for the clear green, they only make 6 and 12-inch. But they do make packets. They do make 9x13 packets for the like craft cutters. Let's see if I might actually have some. You can get a part number. Hold on. Yeah, so this is the FBS green, and they make packs like this that have the 9x12 6 sheets in it. I don't know what they cost. So you can put it in by itself, or you could do it to the mat. You can do it either way because it has a backing. But what I found with my Cameo's older, so sometimes the Cameo tries to like grab it and kind of flick it up. So a lot of times I'll just put this to the edge, and I'll change the cutting depth so it doesn't go all the way to the hard backer. It just goes, it doesn't go to the mat. It just cuts the backer. But FBS itself has its own backer on it. And you can run it like a roll through the machine. I don't do it often, so I'm not an expert on it. Just I know a lot of guys do it. I have a full-size plotter, so that's what I do most of my work with. The Cameos are great. I like mine. I'm thinking I get the new Cameo 4, the new Camera 5. Well, so here's the thing about Cameos and Cricuts. They're basically printers, but they just cut. So the hardest thing is learning design software and the way software works. So there's a lot of simple, easy shortcuts to do things very simply. Doing your own custom stuff takes a learning curve. You got to learn how the software works. It's not, they make it as point and click as they can. And the problem is I think a lot of people want it even, they want to like scan and print like scanning and printing. That doesn't work like that. Because you actually have to create mathematical paths for the machine to cut. But they're not hard to use. It doesn't cut the steps you want. It has to cut the one you design. You might want to do one thing, but you got to design to the other. But Darren, yeah, that's basically what it does. My big thing this year is I got to get a laser cutter. There's a whole bunch of new stencils I want to create that I don't think are going to be big enough to where I'll create them through Art Tool and Iwata, like my skulls and my pocket graphics. But just some short run patterns and stuff. So I got to get one this year. That's my next purchase, I think, this year is a laser cutter. All right, what time we got here? We're at 9 o'clock. Well, no, I already have a high-end plotter, an actual real plotter. U.S. cutters are okay. U.S. cutters are a low budget. Lower budget. They're a good machine. They're decent quality. They're a little noisy. They're a little less refined. I have a Roland GX24 plotter, which will cut 1/8 inch lettering perfect. So I already have a full-size plotter. The only reason I use my Cameo cutter is to cut hard stencils like hard Mylars or cardstock. I don't need it to cut vinyl. Vinyl, I'm going to cut on my actual plotter. But the Cameos are only 200 and something bucks. And I want it just for like cutting cardstock and stuff. Like I said, I think I'm going to just get a laser printer this year and just go full bore. Like I said, just tone this guy out. For all intents and purposes, I think the Reaper's pretty much done except for some highlighting. So let's do a couple things here. Yeah, like the Roland, so I wouldn't bother with the US cutter because that would be a downgrade from the Roland. The Rolands, so the two best the couple on the market, Roland, Graphtec, and Suma are really the best ones that you're really ever going to get. So, kind of stick with those. If you can afford them, you buy it once and you never look back. No, I think the Cameo 5 might be close to 400 bucks. But again, you're cutting hard Mylars, hard stencil material, thick stuff, which you can't cut on a plotter. So that's the benefit. That's the real benefit to the craft cutter. The craft cutters real strength. So the craft cutter's real strength has always been cutting like heavy cardstocks and heavy mylars and things like that, because you actually build structural things. For vinyl, you know, they do it. They do vinyl transfers for like shirt stuff, but their big thing was for like cutting out like cardstock shapes and like putting cards together, which was great about being able to cut hard stencils. So that's where I like the craft cutters. So pretty much I use my plotter for vinyl. I don't really use my craft cutter for vinyl much at all, just because the Roland's more exact than the Crickets are, or the Cameos. So yeah, that's kind of where I kind of float between. But if you're starting out, I would tell a beginner, get a Cameo first, because you can cut vinyl and cardstock decently out of one machine. And then when you start doing more vinyl, upgrade to like a US cutter. Or if you got to do this for a long time, just take a swing and go out and get a plotter. Now, you can't really cut like heavy cardstock in a plotter, because the problem is plotters need a backer. So I've done it where I've cheated and taken Mylar and stuck a backer to it, like by using transfer tape, and I fudged it that way, but they're not designed for it. Plotters are for cutting vinyl sticker material that has a backer of varying depths. They're not designed to cut Mylars and hard material. The machines don't like it, and they're not designed for it. You know, so because they're not a cutter in that respect. So yeah, so harder materials, you know, craft cutters. Vinyl decal materials, when you have the money, plotter. Those are the two best. Those are the best ways to go. Laser cutter. How much of a laser cutter? They're varying pricing, and I don't know enough about them. I've seen some at like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. There's obviously more stuff you need because you need to ventilate it, and you know, other than the machine itself. So I'm looking into it, but that's all coming. That's all coming. All right. First things first. I'm gonna get this guy. Oh, no, you know what? I gotta do him on a light, and then I can come in. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, first things first. This time, I want to deepen that fire a little bit from the red. So what I do first is I'm gonna use Illustration Purple to kind of get that purple undertone to the red and kind of even that out. I'm not using candy, this is just illustration. This is going to be a place to use in black. And that way, if the purple gets onto the Reaper a little bit, it's not a problem. It kind of makes that red a little deeper. And starts to simulate kind of a black, but it's actually purple when you clear it. So my next colors will bounce off it really well. So when I'm doing real fire, I do Lavalle's technique, which is the dark to light. So I start the darker tones, like darker red tones. And then I work up into the orange tones. Okay, so I'm going to keep you. I don't really want to do it this way. I should have mixed up some opaque yellows. Alright. So I'm going to keep it limited Capellica, because all the colors I mixed up are transparents. So I'm going to go, which is not how Mike used to like to do his, but this is how a lot of guys do it. So a lot of guys will do candies like this, and they'll flip back from white to a color. Okay, so I'm going to brighten some things up with the white, and then I'm going to tint them with an illustration color. Okay, so like off his shoulder, we're going to do just a little bit of fire coming off his shoulder. And we're going to just do a little bit of loose fire. and just get a little bit of glow going. Keeping it really simple, because it's going to have to, I'm going to go white and then I'm going to go yellow and the orange and stuff like that. Same thing for the skull. There'll be a little bit of fire here. And just kind of build in that shape. For him. Keep it really simple. Notice I'm not using the stencils too much. I'm not overworking it with stencils. It's a lot more freehand. Little dagger strokes, rat tail strokes. And I'm keeping this kind of on the bigger side. Because I'm going to stay more orange on this one. Over the eyes here. Yeah, so I'm mapping out where all my colors are going to be in white. And then I'm going to build everything by using semi-transparents, or you can substitute for candies. I'm not going to be doing a lot of candies on this one, or any, because basically I wanted to show you how to do this type with just traditional illustration colors without the candies involved at all. I want to keep this kind of broad. Yeah, this is going to make it pop. You know what? We're going to start setting up these eyes for color. So we're going to brighten them up a little bit as well. And then we want some fire coming off this edge as well. Okay. So I had purple in here. I'm not going to do much more with that right now. Do you try to save as much red as you can? At this stage, I kind of do. Basically, I make sure that everything I'm doing works with inside the red. And then what I do is, so now I'm going to spray the orange. And I'll see how it kind of ties in. And see how much, if I need to get red back in there. Or if it needs more orange, I can kind of tell. Because the orange, now when you're doing candies, the nice thing is the orange works with the red. And the orangey areas of red are red-orange, and wherever you are over your white, it's orangey-orange. See what I mean? So you're still getting, so like right here, this is going to be orangey-orange, this is going to be like a reddish-orange. I'm just I'm not over-contaminating it. If it was candies, I wouldn't worry as much. But I'm trying not to do too much candy right now. And I'm really kind of setting up for the yellow. I want this to be mostly a reddish orange fire with just a kiss of yellow. So see what that's doing? How this just got more orangey red and stayed red here. Now I can take this and just kind of protect it a little bit so I get a little... I don't have the exact cut. If I had the exact cut, it'd be a little easier. But see how much I can wash that now? And really get that red. You can see how much more dynamic that is. So to answer your question, yeah, you leave enough red so the next color can bounce off of it. Oh yes, the cowbell, the cowbell, the cowbell. I gotta work the cowbell in. I gotta get the fire right first to see if it even deserves more cowbell. So you can see how much more pop that is. Because now what I can do is I can dump that red. I can dump that. And I could go to candy red now. If I really want to get really super rich, I'd go candy red. But I can just take the scarlet red. And wherever I think it's kind of like brownish orange looking, I can get that red back up. Like right in there. Welcome back. You got the fever, Steve. And the only cure is what? Oh, cowbell. Yeah, so remember the rule of thirds? Think of the rule of thirds. So you do your red area, which is probably around a third or so covered from your background, or whatever it is. That's your bright red. Then your orange should only be like a third of that red. Should be a pure orange. Okay? And that way, like I said, any overspray of the orange can tint your red or red or orange, but the bright orange should only be a third. That should be within the red. So your red's out here, your orange is in here, and then when you get to the yellowish orange, same thing, you go a third. Okay, now the yellow is a third of it, but you can kind of get a yellow or orange, and then you do like the white with some yellow, and you'll see. I got to do a real fire video my way. I haven't done one, because mine is kind of a mix of what Mike did, but when I do it water-based, there's some different techniques to it. And, thinking about it backwards now, yeah, I really kind of go by that rule of thirds when I do fire, and I kind of step inside. It's kind of my approach. So now that that's kind of dry, now I'm going to white, or a lot of times I'd use an opaque yellow here. My opaque yellow or my white is not going to go outside of my orange areas, or if it does, it'll be like sparks. So like I'll do another one here, I'll brighten this one up with white, knowing that's going to be orange. But I can come off with a smaller kind of fire hit to it. And I'm also tightening it up, okay? So I'm doing Mike's loose to tight. So as I'm in with the brighter colors, I'm a little bit tighter. I'm not as like all over the place. I'm more strategic. So now I'm going to come here. I'm going to work with what I got. Little fire coming off here. Make the eyes a little bit up here inside the nose. Okay, just that little bit. Now, because I did that, see how that's working? Because I'm within the orange. But if I put this white back up here, it doesn't have the same effect. It has to go within the orange. How many of you guys want just a straight up realistic fire video with maybe a skull? I've always really avoided it out of respect for Mike because he did such a good job with it. But I really need to do one that's kind of more water-based version that still gives that effect. Mike was quick, and quick is some of it. You know, it makes it happen. Don't get me wrong, I prefer to move as fast across the panel as I can, especially with fire. It really makes it work. Okay, so just a little bit there, a little bit there. You know, I want a good glow behind his head. Right here, so watch. We're going to get this one really to pop. So there's that glow behind him. Like I said, this is used in white. If I used opaque yellow here, you kind of see what it's doing a little easier. So I'm going to have an easier time with that. Okay, so now watch. This is where I'm going to hit these. I'm going to do some more details around the skull. Kind of highlight that eye a little bit. So now watch. Now, wherever I did the orange, now I do the yellow when I work inside it. So we're going to get rid of that. Maybe I'll mix up a candy red and darken it for the very last piece. So now I have my yellow. And this takes very little. Almost I paint around it. So I still leave some white. Now if I was using candies, it'd be a little cleaner, but you're getting that. Let me do this. So see how I'm leaving some of the almost white. I'm not letting the yellow get to it 100%. I'm actually painting like kind of over the overspray areas. So like, look, I'm going to paint here and here. Then let the overspray come in. And you let that white almost stay. I said, this is not candy. This is just illustration colors, which is how I paint a lot. And then I a lot of times will enhance with a candy at the end. Because water-based candies do have a little bleed tendency, I try to overflood the candy or try to overuse it to the end. But see how the yellow, even the yellow over the red, is making the red more orangey red? But it's all working together. So you keep the opaque small. Darren, you're getting a super cool painting on this one. This worked out way better. You know, now water-based is tricky because you can get a little browny if you're not careful. So this is why I will then kind of intermix my yellow. Yeah, the 40-50 between helps to bleed, but the reason I don't do them, I shouldn't say the reason I don't do them, is doing them live just requires more waiting in between. But you see how fast that really came together. It was only half an hour to really pop this. And then I think I'll mix up, I think I will mix up like a deep red candy and maybe a purple for the outside edge just to really, to pop the final detail. That'll look perfect. Darren, you like this one? Yeah, it's a good pop. This was actually a good way to do it because I've been wanting to experiment with, can I do a quality fire feed, you know, live without too much problem. This is orange, this is still yellow. I'm just gonna get that, I wanna get that really super bright. Because what I can also do, a couple little sparks. Okay. Oops. Oh, that was almost opaque green. That would have been a problem. Come on. Frog juice. Do a nice little green tint to them eyes. They look really yellow on camera, but they are not. Alright, I'm going to just do this final pop around here. Get those eyes really dark. There we go. Look at that. Green eyes. Cool. Alright. Let's mix up some red candy. When I'm doing my candies like this, let me find red. I didn't plan on this, but I'm doing it just for you guys. That's Sunset Magenta. Blood red candy. Okay. When I'm doing airbrushing, this is for airbrushing, I don't really reduce, and that's why I don't get a lot of bleed. Because I do 1-to-1 gloss 40-50. So one part. I know you can't see the side. Let me go to. So I do one part. One part. The candy itself is so thin it pretty much acts like a reducer for the 40-50. You can add reducer if need be, but I typically don't. And this is where I always do what, people? Especially because if you don't give the 40-50 enough time, because it takes a few minutes for it to all settle in. If you let it sit without mixing enough, sometimes you'll get a little separation. You get these little specks. See them? Let's see if you can... This is normal. This is just what paint does. So see how those specks are flowing? That's because you need to mix it for like 2 minutes. But if you don't have a lot of time to keep mixing, the majority of it's mixed. Then I run it through one of my handy dandy strainers, which I've shown everyone how to make, did a little video on. I strain that candy. That takes care of any unmixed binder, meaning the 40-50. Now it's ready to shoot. So I'm going to shoot this, and then I might add a little purple to it. My shifty laptop is dying. Sorry, kid. Thanks for popping in. Oh, this easel is a Visionaire. Some, from these guys right here. So visionaire.com, that's the easel. They make all this stuff that's on my bench that you probably can't see in half this. So when you look over here, this easel, all this stuff over here, I have all this stuff along the rail. This is all by Visionaire. Beautiful modular system. Like, they have a holder and a jig for anything you paint. They're also the manufacturers of the Flake King. So, just really, really good people to work with. I just gotta get this airbrush cleaned out because I don't want to. Alright, so my candy is ready. This is regular candy apple red. So now you'll see, I'll go just this. So see how here has a little brownie red? Now with the candy, and I don't have a lid right now, I can really get that a rich red. See how much redder that just got? So I can go into my darks with a candy red and really get everything to pop that's in the darker areas. And that kind of reddish orange, I'm going to tone that. So like watching here, I'll do a lot more red in here. That skull is getting redder, and here is getting red. This is the benefit to the candy. It makes everything pop. Especially that overspray area, you see that just light up in here? I'm being real careful not to get them on the Reaper itself. But it just got, you know, the candy is what did that. So it did that pop. So that's where I go through with the candy. I do it towards the end, more or less. And it really just gets everything to really pop out. And now what I'll do is I'll add some purple candy into it. Here's my purple. It's Brandywine Deep Purple. I can add a little purple candy dye to it. Drop the cap. Now I can go like a purpley red to the outsides. which this is the perfect color transition into black. And then I would use a purple pearlescent to come out of this, like Mike always did. I think that's a pretty darn good looking panel. If I do say so myself. I'm going to take that detail black I had, and I'm going to mix it with this color, and I'm going to do that final skull detail. Didn't think of which way. So now I'm just going to come in and do some final details on this skull. Get this like reddish purple. Details. Frame out all that fire detail. This is one of those paintings you can keep working for days and just adding more and more stuff to it. Oh, the clear hits this, man. Yeah, it's gonna pop. But we got one thing to do. Right? One thing to do. Oh, cheers. Feel like, what do we need? No, we need more than detail, Steve. What do we need? We need one more thing. There's only one cure. What are we doing? Three, two, come on. Going once. I hate delays. Going twice. Nah, I'm going straight. Mike's got it. Cowbell. Ha 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 ha. I'm gonna do like a little. Everyone play Call of Duty? They got everyone's with the. They got the charms that like hang off the side of the gun. I'm gonna have to do a little cowbell right off the side. There's the bell. Ding. No, signatures last, but yes. But we gotta have more. Come on. Oof, almost spilt that whole thing of candy red. Let's get that off the table before I mess it up. Let's one thing when you spill paint. It's a whole other thing when you're doing. Alright, when you spill candy. Look at that. We got cowbell. I'm not putting the word more on it though. We don't need to do that. That's crazy. Ask and you shall receive, people. We have more cowbell. A little light gleam coming off. A mini, you know. All right, Mike. Okay, there's a skull on the cowbell. You can still tell it's the cowbell. But I'm going to brighten it up a little bit. Oh, Chris, you don't have faith in me? Skull, cowbell. Haha. Alright, Mike, where's that super chat? I did it. No, yeah, I'm kidding. And I think that's all she wrote, kids. $20.24. And that is probably the first out of all the years I've been doing this for you guys and with you guys. I think that's the first realistic fire tone I've done. I've always been kind of worried about doing it. But I think we pulled most of it off. And I'm just going to do a little bit of purple down this bottom for the signature. Do a little bit of purple on the bottom in general, I think. Just to give it a little tone. Yeah, that little bit, like the cloth has a little purple tone to it. And I think that's all she wrote, kids. Gerald Mendez just popped in for the last minute, and no green. Okay, well, it's a little green in the eyes. Sorry, Gerald. There we go. That is the second painting of 2024, realistically. I got the Dragon Castle one, which I got to show you the finished one. I got to upload the finish of that as well. This would make a good class project, and we were talking about our class up at Maple in Canada, where it's going to be happening this year. So stay tuned for that. We're thinking sometime around April. Yeah, the aviator skull would be a really cool one to do, but I know there's no way I can do that in a live feed. It's too big, but I could, you know, we could do something. But anyway, that's it, kids. This is the final project, final night for this one. Darren, I hope you're happy with it. I'll get it cleared up and get it over to you soon. So feel free to come by and take a look at it because you're local. And we'll go from there. Cody, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for the amazing amount of super chats on this feed especially and the past few. You guys have been great. Makes it worth it. Thank you to all my members, all you guys. Thank you for helping keep the support. More and more of you sign up all the time, so that's great. I think we're just around 50 people. I think we're maybe 1 or 2 shy. So you guys who aren't Down and Dirty Tricksters, sign up on the membership, get your discounts off bouquetfineart.com, and always thank our lovely sponsors and brands we use. So make sure you like, subscribe, and share all that stuff. I got to get this channel growing. We hit 10,000. Now we need another 10,000. We need to grow this channel. The more it grows, the more content I can do, the better the feeds get, the better the content gets. So we're all in it together. And I will talk to you all in a few days or next week. Jaro Mendez at the last minute. Hello and goodbye, sir. Thank you, everyone, for popping in. Thank you for everything. I hope you all like the feed. And that is the final project complete. See ya.